You're listening to Plants and Politics with Gina Bonanno Lemos. If you're ready to hear the truth about both sides of the aisle, what's really going on in America, and how big money interests prevent change to keep you sick, broke, and desperate, then play on. Welcome to Plants and Politics. This is Gina. So I have a lot of updates on the Ghislaine Maxwell case. She was in court yesterday. She pleaded not guilty to the 6-count indictment, which charges her with recruiting, grooming, and sexually assaulting children, along with her notorious longtime boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein, who, of course, was found dead in his cell, and which none of us believe committed suicide. Her attorney argued that she needed to be released because of COVID. Now, of course, I've mentioned before, this is absolutely ludicrous because if children can go back to school, if the president is willing to withhold funding to force children back to school, this bitch can go to jail. And yeah, I called her a bitch. That's the nicest thing I can say about a pedophile. So rightfully so, Judge Allison Nathan denied her bail, and she ruled that she would remain in jail until her trial, which isn't scheduled until July 2021. So she will be in jail for a full year. That frightens me because the longer she's in jail, the longer they have to get to her and, really to take care of her. So it's going to be a nail biter, guys. But a lot of new information has come out. So here are the highlights. Prosecutors allege that when the FBI went to the home where she was staying in New Hampshire, they went to the door and they announced themselves, and they could see through a window. She saw them, she heard them, and she ran and she hid in another room and closed the door. They claim that they had to bust the door in. When they got inside, they found that she had a cell phone wrapped in tinfoil. I mean, first of all, what is this, an 80s movie? But okay, so first of all, that's not going to work. And second of all, clearly she was trying to evade detection, which her attorney completely denies. Then what they allege is that she is being guarded by a security company's staff that is filled with former British military members. And these people, these guards, were hired by her brother to protect her. So first of all, protect her from what? Second of all, the fact that these are former British military members really makes you wonder if this has anything to do with Prince Andrew or the royal family. I mean, he has been accused. He is in photos. It is pretty clear that the charges or the allegations against him are real. They're very serious and credible. So it kind of begs the question, are they protecting her? Are they involved? I don't know. We'll find out, hopefully. So they also claim that Ghislaine Maxwell is a huge flight risk, which anybody with a brain can tell you that. But in particular, they cite the fact that she has 3 separate passports. She's a citizen of France, and so if she took off to France, there's no way she would ever stand trial because they don't extradite their citizens. So she would be gone. She could go there, never come back. The prosecutors also say that she created a fake identity, and she actually posed as a journalist named Janet Marshall in order to purchase the New Hampshire home where she was found living when she was arrested. They apparently talked to the real estate agent who showed her the home, and he believed her. He thought that she really was this Janet Marshall journalist at large until he saw news reports of her arrest. And then he realized that that was the woman he showed the house to and that she had lied to him. So, come on. Really? She's not trying to evade detection. She's not trying to hide out. So it gets worse. The house was actually purchased in the name of an LLC, so a limited liability corporation, for $1 million cash. This is not her LLC. And Maxwell claims that she doesn't know who owns it. She's living there, but she has no idea who owns it. Okay, really? That on its face just doesn't seem credible. But then to make matters worse and make it even more evident that she's lying through her teeth, she gave a credit card to one of the guards who was protecting her because she did not ever leave the property. She sent them out to do all of her shopping and everything else. Now, some could argue, oh, okay, there's COVID. She's trying to protect herself in that way. Okay. Yeah. Very convenient. So she gives this credit card to the men who are guarding her, and the credit card is in the name of the LLC. So don't tell me that she doesn't know who owns this home and who's paying for every single thing she's purchasing. Come on. Now, it's very easy to hide the identity, the true identity of LLC members because you just create, shell corporations. I mean, there's all kinds of cases surrounding this. This is very common practice with people who don't want to be found out. And so they just keep creating these shell corporations, and you have to keep tracing it back and back and back because one shell corporation owns the next corporation, and that one owns an LLC. And so it takes a while to figure it out. They also claim that she has multiple bank accounts all over the world, and that in any given account, there's a minimum of 500,000 and a maximum of up to millions in each one. She personally has admitted to having $2 million in an English bank and $4 million in a Swiss bank, but they know that there are more out there. She also, at one point, her attorney actually proposed that she could have 6 different people co-sign for a $5 million bond so that she could get out of prison before her trial. But they wouldn't provide the identity of the 6 people. Now, keep in mind, this woman has money all over the globe. She's got millions and millions of dollars. She's got someone purchasing $1 million home in cash for her to live in, and she has no discernible income. There's no record of her having a job, a business. Nowhere is there any record of her having an actual source of income. So where is all this money coming from? I mean, I think we all know. So there was another bombshell. Apparently, Ghislaine Maxwell is secretly married, and she refuses to provide her husband's name. Who gets away with that? Would you or I get away with any of this? So the biggest revelation was that new people have come forward with evidence against her. Now, they didn't say whether these people were just witnesses to what occurred or if they were actual additional victims, but they allege that they have new evidence against her that since she was arrested, people have come forward. So there were victims who spoke at the hearing. One victim was referred to just as a Jane Doe. And understand, these women are afraid. And as you'll hear in just a minute, you'll understand why. So this Jane Doe said, this is a quote, "Without Ghislaine, Jeffrey could not have done what he did. She was in charge." So this Jane Doe said that she knew Ghislaine Maxwell for 10 years, and that she alleges that Maxwell not only knew what Epstein was doing, but she, quote, egged him on. She also said that she was scheduled to testify in a civil proceeding, and she received a call in the middle of the night, and the person who called her was threatening her and her 2-year-old daughter. So just sickening, just sickening. As I've said before, there's so many people out there with a dog in this fight, with a stake in this game, who want this whole thing shut down. And if this woman makes it to trial, it will be a miracle. As I've mentioned before, one of the people who has been accused in these crimes is Donald Trump. There is no one in the country right now who holds more power than Donald Trump. So if in fact that case is real, if that victim was real, and if you go back and you read her allegations and her lawsuits against him from 2016, her allegations track exactly with what these women are saying, that she was approached by a female, enticed to Jeffrey Epstein's quote unquote parties with the promise of a modeling or acting career, and she was sexually assaulted multiple times. This is her allegation. If you haven't listened to my podcast or watched the YouTube video about it, please go back and do that. I give a lot of details, but it is chilling, the amount of wealth and power that is up against these women. So I give them so much credit, and I can't even fathom. It's hard enough to be a sexual assault victim, but to be a victim who has been abused and tormented by people with such wealth and power who can literally pay to take you out and kill your family. I can't even imagine how terrifying it is for them. So another victim actually spoke at the hearing. The Jane Doe victim provided her statement to the prosecutors to be read. She didn't want to be there and read it herself, obviously. You know, she's got people threatening her life and her child's life. So she was not there, but another victim named Annie Farmer actually did speak. She actually wanted to speak herself. And this is a quote from her. Of Ghislaine Maxwell, she said, "She is a sexual predator who groomed and abused me and other women. She has lied under oath and tormented her survivors." I don't know, my heart goes out to these women for what they lived through, for the pain and suffering, the damage that it does long term. My heart breaks for them, and they need justice. This woman needs to go to trial. She needs to stay alive until trial. They need to do whatever the hell they need to do to keep her alive, and she needs to pay, and she needs to come clean about everybody. And they may not even need her testimony. By all accounts, they have the videos that were collected from Jeffrey Epstein's New York apartment, and they apparently have a lot of these people on video already. But of course, these crimes were committed all over the place. I mean, he had, his home in New York, Florida, another in New Mexico. He had his 2 islands in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So, and in France, I believe. So, these crimes were committed all over the place. So God knows how high up this reaches, how deep it reaches, and how many people want to keep her silent. Anyway, guys, heavy stuff, but very important. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will keep you updated. Take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.